We all want to be happy. Yet at the same time, we're constantly doing things that stand in the way of our own happiness. That is, in many ways, we're our own happiness saboteurs. A big part of your life is the result of what you choose to focus on. If you don't like something, it's time to choose differently. Don't be afraid to let go of your old ways and start over today. It's a brand new opportunity to rebuild what you truly want. You don't have to care much these days. Sometimes we take the world on our shoulders, and instead of making better place, all we end up doing is creating more stress for ourselves. Here are simple tips to ease that heavy mental load and feel more carefree. The excuses you've been telling yourself. In life, you always have one of two things. Either you have the thing you are capable of achieving, or the reasons why you don't. Laziness may appear attractive, but dedication and work lead to fulfillment and happiness in the long run. If you really want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. Truthfully, almost anything is possible if you've got enough time and enough nerve. What you need to remember is that you can't always wait for the perfect time and conditions, because there may be no such thing. Most of the time, you must simply dare to jump, and don't say you don't have enough time. Failure. The big F word that everyone fears. It doesn't have to be a scary concept, though. Ultimately, it depends on your attitude to failure. If you see failure as not being perfect, you're going to be permanently miserable. A more realistic idea of failure is giving up. If you haven't given up, you haven't failed. See failure as a learning curve, a trial and error process. See failure as your friend. It's no big deal unless you allow it to be. Stop multitasking. When you multitask, you're trying to do several things at once, which means that your attention is divided and you're not fully focused on anything that you're doing. In order to be happy, you have to place all of your attention on the task you're involved in. That is, whatever you're doing, even if it's just washing the dishes, you should be fully involved with the act. Blaming others. It feels justified to blame others because you know it's not your fault things turned out the way they did. But blaming others when you're having a tough time means that you're denying responsibility. In fact, you're making the problem worse by self-victimizing. If you're really upset about a situation, allow yourself to feel the feeling of anger or fear or whatever it is instead of blaming someone else for it. Regrets. There is no place in life for regrets, what ifs, and if only. They are a part of life. If you have to, just forgive yourself and others. If there's something to learn from these moments, great. What's the point of worrying and feeling bad about what cannot be changed? Live in the present moment. It is the only thing you can be sure of. It is so easy to drive ourselves crazy worrying about the past that we have no control over, or the future that we have no idea about. Don't torture yourself about things that may never happen. Deal with situations as they arise. What you don't have, you will never have enough time, enough resources, or enough money to do the perfect thing. But what's truly amazing is what you can achieve without enough of these supposed requirements. Sooner or later, you will come to realize that it's not what you are missing that count. It's what you do with what you have. To be upset about what you don't have is always a waste of what you do have. The happiest and most successful people aren't the luckiest, and they usually don't have the best of everything. They just make the most of everything that comes their way. The reason so many people give up is that they tend to look at what's missing and how far they still have to go, instead of what's present and how far they have come. Society's expectations. Be thin, be beautiful. Show off your wealth and status and then you'll be adored. What nonsense. When you like and accept yourself as you are, you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. Don't buy into the constant media images of perfection. Most of the images are airbrushed and lead us to believe that we should all look as perfect. Try not to take it to heart. We all like to see perfect images, but don't lose sight of the fact that most of them are digitally enhanced and not natural. Love yourself, imperfections and all. Self-acceptance is true freedom. Trying to be someone you're not? Your whole life, your parents pressured you to get good grades so you'd end up in medical or law school, but that's never what you wanted. At some point, analyze the mental childhood conditioning you've been brought up with. Check in with yourself. Wanting to be pretty and rich might really mean wanting attention, which might really mean wanting to be loved for who you are.